Hey y'all, how are y'all doing? Well, you can tell by the title it says 12 Days of Christmas. So my daughter, we did Christmas at Thanksgiving this year, my family, we did. And so my one daughter, she gave me a box, well, not a box, she actually individually wrapped them. It was a different one that gave me a box of things. But she individually, or I think it was two different ones. But anyway, she individually wrapped them. And she's like I am. She shops, she shops sales. Talk about a tongue twister. She shops sales all year long. And so she knows I love the movie Elf. And the kids kind of tease me about being an elf because I am, so short. I'm only 4'10" and a half. And so she, they tease me. Not just her, they all tease me. And so anyway, she gave me the one item in there was called the 12 Socks of Christmas, a play on the 12 Days of Christmas. And so I thought, well, could that be cool to use? And she had even told me while I was saying it would be neat. She said it was her. She said, yeah, that's what I thought too, that I could open up each one each day and try them out. And it's actually evening here, and I was going to do it this morning, but I had to get up early and get out here this morning, so I didn't get a chance. And so I'm going to do it, and I just love that movie Elf. It is so funny. And one of the other reasons I love it is because, in 2003, we were on a mission trip, and I had a sore in my ear, and my ear hurt really bad. Well, I didn't think anything of it, and so a day or two later, I noticed the pain went away, and which I just thought was pimple in my ear, and the pain went away. So I was like, okay, I'm good. And that night, we typically would cook for all the kids on the mission trip. There were like kids from several different churches throughout, not just from the state of Missouri, other ones. And so we would typically cook breakfast and supper for them and pack a lunch for them as they went out and did kind of like backyard Bible clubs. And us in like each church had to send so many cooks. So my husband and I went for our church. And but anyway, so Tuesday night was always the night that everybody had off. And so my husband and I went out to this Italian restaurant that we love to go to. And so I don't know, it was summertime, but I was like really cold. I think maybe it's because it was really cold in the restaurant. So I'd ordered some soup. And so I guess my husband hadn't noticed anything different about me yet. And I started eating that soup, and I didn't feel it. But he told me, he said, you might want to go look in the mirror. He said, your face looks really funky, and your soup is just dribbling out of your mouth. Well, I didn't feel anything. And then when I reached to touch, I noticed that I was numb, and I couldn't feel like you'd been to the dentist. And I went and looked in the mirror, and this whole side of my face was droopy, and the whole side was numb. And so he said, I think we better take you to the hospital. You may be having a stroke. So we went to the hospital, and now I'd never told him, hey, I've had this sore in my ear, because it wasn't hurting anymore. I did not relate that this being numb would make that numb. And so I didn't, tell them that. So they asked me, like, what the year was, the date, who was the president, and had me say a few of the presidents backwards. And I messed that up, but that could probably be from saying them backwards. And that's all they did. I think they did have me touch my finger to my nose. Well, I couldn't do it with this one, because when I went to touch, I couldn't find, I didn't know where my nose, couldn't feel my nose, so I was touching like over here. It's same, with this hand. not touching the right way. So they told me, they said, well, we're just sure that all you have is Bell's palsy. Okay, that was, good to go. Did they give me, I think they maybe gave me a steroid, but that was it. A week and a half later, I go home, I see my doctor, and he looks, and apparently I had shingles in my ear. Those shingles had went inside, and he told me, he said, I'm going to give you some medicines that it will not make you better, but it'll keep you from getting worse. Well, in the meantime, what happened is that those shingles had went in, and they caused one nerve that was damaged, which I have nerve damage all through here. And it wasn't until years later, another nerve showed up that will cause me to have these, have vertigo and really bad, and these just different spells I have really bad. But in the meantime, while all that was going on, my memory was affected also. My husband, until the day he died, he swore up and down that it probably caused me to have a mini stroke also. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. There was never any scans taken of my brain. Excuse me. So, but I have problems with my memory. I couldn't even read, and I love to read, but I would read, and if I put the book down and I came back to it, I could not remember what I read. And my memory was just horrible. And I was only 42 at the time. And I'm saying all that to get to the movie Elf, to just give the backstory there. Now, y'all may not be interested. If you're not, that's fine. You can say, well, let's not watch the rest of that. Or you can, go fast forward to the socks. And I haven't even told y'all what we're doing. Anyway, like I said, those socks, we were going to open the socks. Or I may have said that and forgot, y'all. Y'all just have to excuse my ADD moments. But anyway, I'm dry, so I need some water. But, so it was that memory loss. It lasted maybe a couple of years, maybe a little longer. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But I do know, it was maybe 2004, 2005, I can't remember. But we were watching the movie Elf, and it was so hilarious, and I was just laughing up a storm. And then my husband, he was laughing, and I thought, man, he's really enjoying this movie as much as I am. And so when it was over, he said, that was really a good movie, wasn't it? And I said, it was. I said, it was just so hilarious. And he said, do you not remember seeing this last year? And I said, no. And he said, yeah, we watched this last year. And I said, well, I just really don't remember, which he knew I had problems, with my memory. And so that movie to me is because, and I really like the movie, but also it's a little endearing because the whole time we were watching that, and while I was just cackling, he could say, well, don't you remember that last year? And what he was doing, he was laughing at me. He was getting a kick out of me laughing at it so hard. And because, when you first watch a movie, and it's really funny, you laugh and you laugh and you laugh, and you're not paying attention to anything else that goes on around you. Well, with that being his second time to watch it, he was kind of more or less paying attention to me. But, he never once during the movie said, why are you laughing so hard? You've seen this before. And, of course, I can laugh over and over at the same movie, a few times. And but he, he just kind of told me afterwards, and he said it, in a nice way. I mean, he didn't say, well, dummy, Now, I'm not going to say that. I mean, he always talked real nice because sometimes we could really get into some arguments. But as just about any married couple can. But I thought, that just made the movie to me a little more endearing, the fact that, he was enjoying just watching me laugh. But anyway, so let's get to the socks. So I'm just going to go in. Here's the socks I should have showed you. Now, the 12 days of Christmas, before someone says, well, we are not in the time of the 12 days of Christmas. I know. And the 12 days of Christmas, there's debate on whether if it actually starts on Christmas Day or the day after. Since it ends on January the 6th, which is known as Old Christmas. And, there is that superstition you're not supposed to take your Christmas tree down until Old Christmas because it's bad luck, or after Old Christmas. So then if that's the case, if it ends on Old Christmas, then it would maybe have to start the day after Christmas, unless it ends on midnight of Old Christmas, like, midnight as soon as it turns January 6th, then yes, then it would begin on Christmas. But I want to wear these during Christmas time, so I'm not going to wait until the actual 12 days of Christmas begin. So I decided I am going to do them the 12 days leading up to Christmas, with the last one being on Christmas Eve. That's the way I'm doing it. And I'm going to record it every day and show you which socks I get. Now, I did open it, because it was taped shut. So I did do that, but I haven't looked inside. It says that there are 4 pairs of crew socks and 8 pairs of low cut. Doesn't say if they're for men or women. Shoe size 6 to 12, so I'm thinking maybe that's women's. But even the shoe size 6 is too big on me. I have a tiny foot. So I wear a 5, and even that's a little bit too big. So in I'm going. I'm going to go to the left and go over and go toward the right. And so I got the pair. I'm going to open them up and see what we have. Let me see. Oh, we have little raccoons and Christmas trees, and these look like crew socks. Not crew, I'm sorry. Low cut socks. And boy, I bet you on my feet, I bet you anything that it's going to make a crew sock on me. So those are really cool. Like I said, it's too late for me to wear out today, but I may wear them to bed. So it's going to be really cold. Our low tonight's supposed to be 11. And then we have church tomorrow. And I think the high is only supposed to be 18 or 19. So it's going to be cold. And the pastor's wife asked if I would make a ham. So I have that cooking now. And then I'll heat it up in the morning. And I'm going to make some dressing also. And I think I've done those on the channel. I know I've done dressing before. I think I've done ham also. So I'll put a link in the description box of those. And, oh, I have to tell y'all this. 2 things I've got to tell you, because it's, one is funny. One is kind of, but not real funny. Anyway, we don't have that many boys in church right now. The ones that we do, they're getting a little older, so they don't want to be in the Christmas program, which all they have to do is walk, but they still don't want to do it. So the pastor's wife asked me if I would be a wise man. Now, that's just kind of funny to me, because I'm not a man, I'm a woman. Hey, but that's okay as long as, and I know some people say, well, you shouldn't do that. But, I'm going to have the robe on and a crown, and my hair is short enough that nobody can tell the difference. And it's better that we get that gospel message out. And some people may say, well, that's compromise. Well, it's not really compromising, or the way I see it. And I'm pretty strong in my convictions about certain things. I'm really strong in my convictions, but me taking the place of a child, no. Would I ever try to take the place of an actual man? No. But of a child, it's a little different. But and it's only going to last maybe 10 minutes at the most too. The main thing is that people realize, know and get the message that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and he died on the cross. He came to earth as a baby, and he died on the cross for our sins, so that if we believe and accept him as our Savior, that we can spend eternity with him. And but now here comes the funny part, okay? Are y'all ready for this funny thing? So there was one of the children that was helping the pastor's wife get things ready. The costumes that her mother had made years ago and that we use every year, get them ready. And so they're getting they're just like, I guess you just pull them over your head. And and she's getting that ready for her and helping her get those ready, and the crowns. But she told the pastor's wife, now she's only maybe 10, 11 years old, maybe 12. She told the pastor's wife, she said, now you save this crown for Miss Sandy to wear because she's got a little head. And I just thought that's funny because I'm a little person. I'm overweight, but I do have a tiny head, tiny feet, tiny hands, tiny wrist, and so I did think that was funny that she noticed I'm a tiny person. Of course, I think she's taller than I am, but, after they pass 3rd grade, 4th grade, most girls are taller than I am, and definitely the boys. And then, it was something else I was going to say with that, and I forgot. Oh, but here's the clincher. When I put that crown on my head last week, and it was actually a little too big on me. I said, yeah, I guess I do. I do have a little head, don't I? And so I thought that was really funny that she even realized that. Well, listen, I'm going to hop off here. I've been on here probably too long for y'all anyway. And remember about the giveaway, okay? Make sure to comment, like, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow with another sock. So hopefully it's going to be in the morning before church. And so hopefully I'll get up in plenty of time. If not, it'll be after church. So I'll either wear these tonight or tomorrow. So one of them. All right, well, listen, y'all have a good evening. Bye-bye.